All right, good to see you back. So, we have been learning about the heroes in the Bible that depend on God's power to do the things that they need to do. This week, we're going to be talking about how God's power can make us a leader. So we're going to do that. But before we do that, and before we check in with Director Stone, let's sing a song. So everybody stand up, and we're going to sing. All right, you did a great job singing that song. It's been a fun song. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the thought of the week. So the thought of the week for this week is God's power helps me become a leader. So go ahead and say that with us. All right, good job. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to find out what's happening. So Director Stone is going to give us our assignment, and then we are going to go into the evil lair and find out what Dr. D and Poof are up to. So let's count it down. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hello there, superheroes. Director Stone here, and welcome back to Hero Headquarters. I'm very pleased to tell you that Windstorm was able to combat the Make Everything Opposite-O-Matic that Dr. D launched toward Hero Headquarters. Windstorm created a massive gust of wind and sent the Make Everything Opposite-O-Matic back to the evil lair. We are pretty sure that it hit something, but we can't be sure. I wanted to take a moment and say that I'm so honored to be your leader at Hero Headquarters. Being the Hero Supervisor is a great responsibility, but it is also a great privilege because I get to work with amazing superheroes like you. That being said, we need you back in the evil lair to spy on Dr. D and Poof. If you're ready, let me hear you say, "Let's go!" Marvelous! I'll activate the invisibility shield around you so you can enter the evil lair. Be ready to report back everything you see.
Invisibility shield activated.
Listen, Poof, I'm telling you, for the last time, it was not my fault that the Make Everything Opposite-O-Matic came right back towards us. I launched it with all of the breath that I had, and it was going right in the right direction, and then there was no scientific way for me to account for that random windstorm that pushed it back towards us. I did everything I should have done.
But I still don't understand why you panicked when you saw that the Make Everything Opposite-O-Matic was coming back towards us. Being afraid is no reason to use the neighbor's cat as a shield.
It seemed a logical choice at the time. It was either the cat or you, and I can't take that selflessness that you were. It's so disgusting. I can't. It's terrible. Unfortunately, I used the last of my sermon to make everything opposite-o-matic, so I have no way to fix the cat, which started barking.
Let's just hope that our neighbor doesn't notice.
How does it not notice that it barked?
Now, it's time to be adding a point to the hero side of our track record. You know, come to think of it, I don't think I remembered to add the point after last battle either. Huh. Where is the track record?
Oh, that old thing? It hasn't been here for a while. I think I accidentally spilled invisible potion on it, and then I think I might have mistakenly stomped on it and burned it in the fireplace. I have no idea how it happened, though.
What?
What?
No, I said what first.
Yeah, and I said it second.
Did anything come in the mail for me today? Check the mail, please.
I don't think so. Let's see. Bill, fan mail. Ooh, another fan mail. Junk mail.
Is there a letter in there from
Junk
Granny
mail.
Gertie?
Ooh, yeah, Granny Gertie.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
What? What's here?
Yeah, this is the...
Is that from the Association of the Protection of Endangered Unicorns? Finally, they replied to my letters?
No, it's my, wait, what?
Oh, it's nothing. I've just written complaints to them. You know, how dare they protect the endangered unicorns? Why should they bring joy to all the children in the world by creating a zoo for just unicorns? Ew, it's so touchy-feely.
Look, we can discuss your involvement with mythical creatures later. This envelope is what I've been waiting for.
I would like to think that you're technically waiting for the letter inside the envelope, not just so much the actual envelope.
It says Dr. Denial, but I can't open it.
Well, what is it?
Well, this is whether I got the position of the El Presidente.
El Presidente? You mean the president of all the villainous leagues around the world? When did you apply for that?
Almost 2 full months ago. I've been waiting with great anticipation for this letter to come back. I've already written my acceptance speech for the press conference I will hold after I get the position.
Wait, but you don't even know if you even got the position yet.
Oh, Poof, please, look, it says Dr. Denial. And have you seen my resume? There's no way I can't get in.
Well, are you gonna actually read it? And if you're so sure you got it, then you should have nothing to be worried about it.
I can't. I'm too excited. You open it. No, wait. I want to open it. I want to be the one that opens it. I want to be the first one to see it.
All right, then open it.
No. I don't know. I'm just so nervous. Look at my hand. Look how much it shakes.
All right, I'm gonna open it.
No. I want to open it.
Oh, good grief. Just open it already.
No, you do it.
Okay.
No, I lied. It's me. Okay, breathe. Here we go. Dear Dr. Denial, we are writing to inform you that we are not awarding you the position of El Presidente this year. Thank you for your application. Please continue to build your resume and try again during our next election time. Sincerely, Villainous League Representative Boards. Here we go. P.S. Oh, no one wants you to be their leader. All of your plans fell. Perhaps you should consider this before applying again.
Well, I think it was just telling you that you did not get the position, right?
I mean, what do they mean I didn't get it? I can't believe this. I did everything right. Those board members wouldn't know a good leader if he or she thumped them on the head or in the forehead. My resume is perfect. It details everything that I've ever done with all of my qualifications for the leader position that I was perfect for.
What did you put in your resume?
Well, I started out with the fact that I came from 2 villains, right? My parents were both evil villains, and I come from a long line of evil villains. Plus, I'm the most popular and best looking of all my siblings. And I'm the only one that went into a career of villainy. My brother's a zookeeper, and my sister sells makeup at the mall.
What else did you put on there?
Well, I listed out all the evil things I've done. I wrote descriptions of all my evil-o-matics that I've invented, and all the villainy they've caused. I wrote some plans that I have for the future, including all of my evil ideas. Stop yawning, Poof, that's mean. Okay. Plus, all the amazing facts that I have about myself.
Such as?
Well, For one, that my brain works triple the speed of a normal human being, allowing me to have super smartness. I also included the publisher's name for the book that I wrote about how to be a super villain.
Wait a minute. You didn't.
I also included all of my villainous activities. The time that I took all the art from the National Museum of Art and buried it in the sand
That
beneath the
never
beach.
even happened.
Also, the time that I turned the candy in the world into spinach and made everyone sick.
Dr. D, none of those things even happened. You can't put things on your resume for a job if they didn't even happen.
They could have, though. And regardless, I do have the best evil laugh of all the villains, and I have the most excellent bone structure for pictures. Plus, I've perfected my autograph. I don't understand why no one wants me to be their leader. I'm the most qualified candidate. It's not like just any random person can be a leader. You have to have the right qualifications, and I have all of them.
Well, maybe you can just try again next year. You still have time to do more evil things before then. Maybe you'll even defeat the heroes once or twice.
But what else can I do? I don't know how I can be more qualified. I come from a family of villains, I'm extremely evil, and I have an awesome evil laugh. You are only chosen to be the leader because people think you have the ability to lead. There's not much evil that I can do outside of what I'm already doing, unless I'm bitten by some radioactive bug or something.
Hey, don't take it personally that people don't want you to be their leader. I mean, look at me. I'm still here, and I think you're you're an okay leader. Let's just say you're a leader.
You know what? If people who already exist in the Villainous League don't want to follow me, I will make my own group of people who will want to follow me.
Dr. D, are you sure? You're kind of getting those crazy eyes, and I see that vein in the back of your neck that's starting to pop out. This can only mean bad things from here on out, and I think you should probably settle down and have some chocolate milk and some cookies.
Nope, there's no stopping me now. Poof, I'm on a roll. I've got an idea forming inside of my head. This one is going to be a doozy. I'm going to take it out on all the league. I'm going to take my anger out on the League of Villainous People, and I'm going to use the heroes as a stand-in. Yes, I'm going to put my evil test. Poof! Clue the music.
What?
Cue the music. You know, the music that is especially dark and evil.
The music is playing.
Yep, I hear the music now. Are you prepared to hear the evil idea that will top all other evil ideas? To reach a level of villainy that has never been reached before.
Okay, you've officially gone crazy. I need to get my emergency escape pack because this is going to end badly.
Poof, I'm going to create the ultimate clone creator-o-matic. I'm going to create a clone army. An army full of clones of you and myself that are dedicated to the sole purpose of destroying the heroes' headquarters and destroying all those heroes once and for all.
That idea wasn't as crazy as I expected it to be, seeing as how the villains developed cloning technology years ago. I think we could actually make that work.
Yes, I simply just have to adapt my twin creator-o-matic I invented a few years ago that create a twin of anyone who puts their DNA in the machine. I'll just make a few tweaks here and there, which will be able to allow me to make an unlimited clone army. We can have thousands of villains attacking the hero headquarters, where they only have a small number of heroes.
Yes, that's quite evil. Now, how will you go about doing this?
You'll see.
Dr. D is planning to make clones of himself and Poof so they can have a big army and he can be a leader? I'm not sure about that. You know, God is really the superhero and he's the one who gives power for us to be leaders and we need to depend on him. So let's go back and go to the evil lair again and find out what's going on. And so let's go ahead and go and I will see you later.
Dr. D, do you have more to add to this evil plan? Is that why you're wringing your hands and all like that?
No. No, I was just putting on hand sanitizer. You know, when you start working with the machine and it gets your hands all greasy, well, you don't want any of that to get on your clothes, so I just use hand sanitizer to get off. Do you want some?
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh.
So, now that the ultimate clone creator-o-matic is complete, what do we have to do?
Now, we must create the fuel for it.
The fuel? Like you get gas at the gas station?
No. This is the kind of fuel that we create using your DNA.
What?
Yes.
DNA?
Yeah, we've got scissors, we've got clippers, we've got nose stuff, we've got our tubes. Oh, we're good to go.
What exactly are you going to need?
First of all, we need a piece of hair. So let me see here. Yeah.
Hey, okay, I'll take some of yours too then.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Ooh.
got some of yours.
That hurt
Make
just
sure you
a
get
little.
the right section.
I see how it is. You, I think, pulled rather than cut.
Okay, what's next?
Well, we need earwax.
Ooh, that's what these are for, huh?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, you just scrape in. Make sure you get the good stuff
Oh, yeah, a real good one.
in there. Yeah.
That's a little bit strange, but I think I got it in there.
Yeah, and then you
Okay.
just put it in here.
Okay.
Oh wait, you cut my hair. I need this too.
Oh,
We don't want
okay.
any weird clones. Now we clip our fingers
Okay, I can do that.
and we just right in there. And you know, now it's time to dig for gold.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
You need a big one?
Yep.
I'm just gonna go in
No,
for
no,
it.
Poof, you're supposed to use the Kleenex.
Oh, well, it's probably too late for that.
Yeah, well next time.
I can't. Oh, maybe try the other side.
Yeah, next time. Okay, that's just gross.
Okay, I got one.
Now, we don't want to mix these up because we don't want to have mutant clones.
Okay,
So
all right.
let's make sure yours goes where yours is supposed to be
All
and
right.
mine goes where it's supposed to be. The last thing,
What? There's more?
spit.
Oh, gross. Okay, spit.
More. No, a little more. Perfect. Now it's time to create our clone army, and we can make any amount that we want. It's going to be amazing. Oh, I will be the greatest leader that there ever was, and I will lead them against the hero headquarters, where we will soon defeat the heroes.
Now, I'm just thinking this through. There's one small, teeny tiny detail.
What?
Well, I was just thinking that you need to make sure that you remember the cloning breakout session that we went to at the Villains Conference 2 years ago. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, I remember they said some stuff about cloning and how awesome it is.
Well, I just wanted to remind you that clones have an incredibly sharp sense of hearing. They can hear at frequencies that dogs can't even hear. And if a sound is too high-pitched and it enters their ears, it could cause them to explode their eardrums, causing damage to their brains. And if that happens, the whole clone army could end up falling out, and we end up with no clones, just me and you marching into your headquarters by ourselves.
And what are the chances of that happening? Come on. We can do this. Let's go.
Okay, but don't say I didn't warn you.
All right, let's go.
Invisibility shield deactivated.
I'm glad you're back, superheroes. Let's talk about what you saw in the evil lair today. Did Dr. D come up with the way to attack Hero Headquarters? Did Dr. D create a machine that is coming to attack us? What's that sound? Does Dr. D have some kind of army? I know that Dr. D and Poof couldn't have gotten together an army of people this quickly. That must mean they made an army of clones. I know the perfect hero to deploy. He is our newest addition to the team. His parents weren't superheroes, and his job before this was selling snow cones at the soccer fields. But even though he may not seem qualified, Sonic Sonar is perfect for this job. He may be the smallest superhero ever, but his sonar scream can pierce the ears of any clone. I'll deploy him now.
Error. Sonic sonar has not deployed. His vital sign readings are showing a heightened sense of fear and anxiety.
I know exactly what this is from. Sonic sonar probably doesn't realize that with God's power, he can be a leader. It can be a scary thing for one person to go up against thousands of villains. Iris, open the story in this file and link it to Sonic Sonar's telecam screen. He needs to see this story as much as the rest of us do.
All systems are a go. This story is one that Sonic Sonar's parents taught him as a young boy. Retrieving file.
Hey Sonic, I know that sometimes you're afraid, but I want you to know that God's power in you makes you a leader. There's a story you need to know about a man who was afraid to lead too. His name was Gideon. I'm going to use this little guy. He's going to be Gideon, okay? So God chose Gideon to be the leader of his people, the Israelites. They had forgotten all the great things that God had done for them. They became afraid of a group of people called the Midianites. And let's use all these people right here as the Midianites. That's going to be our Midianite people. So the Midianites were taking all of their food supplies, all the Israelites' food supplies. And Gideon was hiding from the Midianites while threshing some wheat for grain to make bread. Kind of like he was making bread, right? And so he was making bread, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, an angel appeared to him with a message from God. The angel said, "God is with you, mighty warrior. God has chosen you to be the leader of his people." God promised Gideon that he would help him lead the people. Before long, Gideon had an army of 10,000 men. So let's take give me all these men. Can you give me all the men? Because all the ones by your arms. Yeah, too. So give me all these. So he had 10,000 men. Perfect. Yeah, these are all the men. But God told Gideon, "You don't need this many soldiers. I'll test them and tell you which ones can go with you." So Gideon took his men down to the river to get a drink of water, and I'll give them to you to represent. They're going down to the water. Now, most of the men got down on their knees to drink the water like this. So let's get down on our knees, okay? And let's pretend like we're drinking the water. Yeah. Yep. But 300 of the men, and I'm going to take a couple of these guys to represent the 300. Yeah, give me one more for 300. Yeah, perfect. But 300 of the men scooped up the water in their hands like this. So watch me, and we can do it together. So yeah, this is really important because these men showed Gideon that they were alert and ready for anything. They were the men that Gideon chose to lead as his army. Gideon's army had 300 men, okay? And the Midianites had thousands of men. Do you think that just 300 men could beat thousands in a battle? Yeah, I bet it was really hard, but Gideon was not afraid. God's power gave him the courage he needed to lead the men straight to the Midian camp at night. Gideon gave each man a trumpet and a clay jar. So he gave him a trumpet and he gave him a clay jar that had a torch inside it. And when he gave the signal, the men broke the jars, threw them down the ground, and they blew the trumpets. And the loud noise and the bright lights scared the Midianites so bad that they ran away in every direction. Here, help me move all of them out of the direction. They went, we're done, So Gideon had done it. He led his people and was not afraid because God's power in him made him a leader.
Excellent. Let's see if this reminder of God's power triggered Sonic Sonar's call to lead. Iris, do you have a report?
Yes, sir. Sonic sonar has now deployed to fight against the clones.
Sweet victory. I'm glad he decided to rely on God's power in him to defeat the villains. Now, I must go to put up our window reinforcements. Sonic sonar screams have been known to break our windows. Good work today, heroes. Until your next mission, remember, God's Spirit is in you and is more powerful than the one that's in the world. Now go and be victorious.
Wow, I am so glad that Director Stone shared that file with us and with Sonic Sonar. Gideon really needed to have faith in God to be able to be the leader that he needed to be. So we're going to look that up in our Bible and find out what happens in that story. So why don't you run and get your Bible? If you need to pause the video, feel free to do that, but go and get your Bible.
This is his 66 picks mixed up into one. The book's about God, who he is and what he's done. It's the Holy Bible, y'all, with God's truth packed tight inside. It's alive, a prize to hide in your heart and in your mind. Old Testaments are set up for the big event when Jesus crashed the scene with a new arrangement. It's history, his story, whose story, God's story. Oh, the story of how much he loves me. Let it blow up all the pages, let the show go on. Let his word explode from this video into your life.
All right, it's so good to see you back. If you got your Bible. Okay, this is what was happening. Gideon, he was asked to be a leader. And he was a little bit scared to do that, but he knew that with the power of God, he could be that leader. And so he took like all these men out, a bunch of men out to be an army. And God wanted him to make sure that Gideon knew that God was the one who was really in control. So he said, you know what, that's too big of an army. We need to make it smaller. So he said to Gideon, okay, tell the guys, if they are scared, they can go home. It's no big deal, not a problem. If they want to go home, they can. And so he told them, and a bunch of those guys did go home because they were scared. And so then God said to Gideon, you know what? No, it's still too big. I need it smaller because I need you to realize that I'm in control, not you. And so he said, what I want you to do is I want you to take these guys now down to the river. And I want you to tell them to get a drink. Now, if they drink and they get down on their knees and they drink like a dog, they kind of lap it up, then I want you to set those aside. And then the other guys, they can go home. They can go be with their families. So he did that, and there were only 300 of them that lapped up like a dog. So that made that army pretty small. And by now, Gideon's thinking, I really am going to need the power of God to win this battle because I only got 300 guys. So we're going to go ahead and turn in our Bible to see how that story turned out. So get your Bible, and we're going to be in the book of Judges. If you look at the table of contents, you're going to see there's an Old Testament and a New Testament. We're going to look for Judges. It's like 7 books down, so you'll go down to Judges. And mine happens to be on page 265. Yours is probably on a different page, but that's okay. And then once you find that, you're going to turn to Judges. And then we're going to look for chapter 7. So the big numbers are the chapters. So you're going to start with 1 and you're going to flip through and flip through and flip through till you come to the big number 7. All right. So I found my big number 7 here. And then we are going to look for the little tiny 17. We're going to do 17 through 21. So you're going to need and you're going to look for those little tiny numbers. Those are called the verses. And you're going to look and you're going to look and you're going to look. I have to turn a page. And I found the 17. So I'm going to go from 17 to 21. And so go ahead, and if you need to pause the video to give yourself time to find that, remember it's Joshua 7, 17 to 21. Then go ahead and pause it, and you can find that. All right, let's go ahead and read this together. And so it says, watch me, he told them, follow my lead. This is Gideon talking to the men. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. When I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout for the Lord and for Gideon. Gideon and the 100 men with him, he had broken the guys up into 3 different groups, so there was 100 with this group. Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, just after they had changed the guard. They blew their trumpets, they broke their jars that were in their hands. The 3 companies blew the trumpets and smashed the jars, grasping the torches in their left hand and holding in their right hands the trumpets they were to blow. They shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." While each man held his position around the camp, all the Midianites ran, crying out as they fled. So I think that's kind of funny that the Midianites thought there was this huge army because they heard the trumpets, they heard the breaking of the jars, and they thought that there was this huge army. And so God definitely was in control, and they all ran away. That reminds me of a verse that we've been talking about, and it's in 1 John 4:4, and it says this: God's Spirit is in you and is more powerful than the one that is in the world. All right, we should all remember that God's power in us helps us to be that leader that He wants us to be. And He wants us to be leaders in doing the things that He's asked us to do. So He'll give us the power to do that. So before we leave, I want to pray with you. So let's pray. Father God, we thank you. We thank you so much that you will give us the power to do the things that you ask us to do. We thank you for the examples like Gideon that you've given us in the Bible, that we can understand that they depended on you for their power, and we also can depend on you for your power. We praise you and we thank you. We love you, Jesus. Amen. All right, so we're going to see you next week. So go out there and ask God for power to be the leader He wants you to be.